How's it going, people? Back again, obviously deadline day, and for once the deadline day is all good news for Arsenal Football Club. We are plugging holes that we need to plug. We are doing the business, and when I look at this transfer window, I'm quite happy. I can't lie to you. We was maybe a top centre-back signing off a great window, but I'm content. I'm happy with the movements we've made in the end. I'm happy with the incomings, and David Luiz being the latest. Obviously, in my rumour roundup this morning, I was a bit sceptical. I was asking why Luiz would want to come to Arsenal all of a sudden. Because when you look at it, it was out of the blue. No one expected it. Yesterday, we were still talking about Upamecano. We were still talking about Daniele Rugani from Juventus. And out of nowhere, Sky Sports pops up with David Luiz wants Arsenal move. Straight. Those words. Luiz wants Arsenal move. I was taken aback. I was thinking, whoa, this is out of nowhere. Like, how did this happen? Because I've seen Luiz play a couple of times in pre-season for Chelsea. So I didn't think there was any problems there. When I delved further into the case, Luiz actually signed a new contract at Chelsea in May. So 2 months ago, Luiz signed a brand new contract at Chelsea to keep him at the club till 2021. Obviously, that was before Lampard's appointment. But what that does show me is that Chelsea believed he had something to offer moving forward. They are a champion. They are back in the Champions League, and when you look at their last 5 to 10 years, they've been the best club in London by far. They've won the most, and they've won the most meaningful trophies by far in London. So, if they're willing to keep Luiz, if they're willing to give him a new contract for 2 years, then this still doesn't stink as much to me as I thought it would. I know I was completely against Gary Cahill because he is done. He is past it. And even at the best of times, Gary Cahill wasn't the leader at Chelsea. He wasn't the focal point of the backline. He always had a Luiz or a John Terry to fall back on. Gary Cahill, he's made a hell of a lot of mistakes over the years, and it's only going to get worse for him as he gets older. With David Luiz, in my opinion, it's completely the opposite. As he's got older, he's become a lot more experienced and a lot less vulnerable to being provoked on the pitch. Now, we've all seen Luiz at times, you know what I mean? He's quite a wild character, quite an up and down character. You either love him or hate him. But what he brings is a mentality that we need to continue bringing to Arsenal Football Club. He is a leader. He is very vocal. He is a standout character. And it's something that these youngsters in particular need. When I look at a partnership of Socrates and Luiz, I'm actually impressed. Not impressed enough to be talking about reaching the Tottenhams or Liverpool or Man City. We're far from there. But what I'm impressed about is the mentality of those two centre-backs. I play football. I used to play a lot more when I was a bit younger, but I'm a striker. When I'm thinking about playing, when I'm thinking about opposition defences, the type of defenders that Socrates and Luiz are, those are the types that I didn't really enjoy playing against. A bit more of a dirty battle between you and the two defenders. A bit more elbows, a few more dirtier tactics and the tricks of the trade for these sort of centre-backs. Do you know what I mean? Like I said in the previous video, you got Socrates out here falling at man's feet, headbutting knees and whatnot. Luiz is a similar mode. Do you know what I mean? Luiz is a similar mode, but he also adds a bit of composure to the back line. He's very good at playing out from the back. His ball distribution is by far greater than any Arsenal defender at present and probably in the last 10 years. I look at Luiz as obviously the Koscielny replacement right now. We didn't manage to get rid of Mustafi. I don't know how active we was trying to get rid of Mustafi, but it didn't happen. So Koscielny in the end went on to Bordeaux. We brought Luiz in, and in my opinion, that's an upgrade. In my opinion, Luiz is everything that Koscielny should have been. Koscielny should have had the leads. Koscielny should have had Champions League. Koscielny should be that decorated defender. Instead, it's Luiz. Why? Because he's a bit more of a leader. He's a bit more out there. He's a bit more of a character. He's someone that every team needs a character like him in the dressing room. And like I said, this ain't the early Luiz. This ain't the Luiz that was losing his head. This ain't the Luiz that was a bit reckless. This is a much more experienced Luiz, and towards the end of his PSG days and obviously second stint at Chelsea, I saw a different Luiz to the one that Chelsea sold. And that was due to the experience he gained. That was due to the level of playing that he's done over the course of his career. So I can't lie to you. Luiz and Socrates, in my opinion, will be a good partnership, especially until Holding gets back. But what Luiz and Socrates also bring is vast experience across leagues in Europe. and Holding, Mavropanos, and when Saliba comes in next season, it will be integral for them to learn off Socrates and Luiz, because they are defenders that have been through it all. Obviously, internationally, it hasn't really worked out for them, but in terms of domestic football, they've been through it all. They've come out the other end. They have a good reputation. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit iffy for Luiz early on, but in the end, he's come out with a very good reputation. And silverware, do you know what I mean? The proof is in the pudding. At the end of the day, with David Luiz, he's been a focal part of teams that have won leagues and Champions Leagues and whatever else that Chelsea managed to win and PSG managed to win and over his career. So like I said, that experience is vital to assisting Saliba, assisting Holding and Mavropanos, because they are very different types of defenders. I haven't seen much of Saliba, but Holding and Mavropanos, they're not the dirty type of the defender. They're not the imposing type of defender. I did like one thing Holding did against, was it Chelsea and Costa, when he really put it on him and he imposed himself in that game. And we need to see a lot more of that. And Socrates and Luiz, they could really be that arm over the shoulder. You know, this is how you be a proper centre-back. This is how you love defending. This is how you show you love defending. So I'm looking for a lot of that from Luiz and, like I said, Socrates. Obviously, at 32 years of age, is a year younger than Koscielny too. So like I said, it is an upgrade. And at 8 mil, we've paid, what, 3 mil more than we got for Koscielny. So essentially, we've actually done very well in replacing Koscielny. In the big scheme of things, we all wanted a big name centre-back or a big prospect in Upamecano or Konate. It hasn't happened, but the direction of the transfers and the direction we've been headed in for the last 3 weeks in terms of negotiation and stamping our authority, I like it. We just need to continue. It doesn't stop here. The work continues tomorrow. The work continues on Saturday. Just because the season here doesn't mean the behind-the-scenes work doesn't continue. If we was so interested in Upamecano this summer, we test the waters in January. We go again next summer. That's what I want to see more of. Not just rest on our laurels and just say, oh, yeah, the season, okay, cool, we've met our objective, because I have a high hope that we will actually get top 4 this year. When I look at Chelsea and when I look at Man United, I'm not impressed. I'm not scared. And neither should they be scared of us. But I believe that out of the 3 teams, we've done the best in the transfer market this summer. And I believe that Unai Emery, there's a bit of pressure on his shoulders to get this top 4. And Luiz coming in, he knows Emery well, obviously through PSG time. And I think they've got a good working relationship. So that's also a plus. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. At the end of the day, like I said before, Luiz is a leader. He's been around. He is the leader we've been crying out for at the back. Like, even if we got Upamecano, even if we got Konate, they're not ready-made leaders yet. Do you know what I mean? And even though I was a Koscielny critic, he has been around for a long time. It's just that he hasn't been at the highest level. He hasn't been in the Champions League finals, in them title-winning crunch games towards the end of the season. That's what Luiz has been in. Luiz, you respect that sort of defender more. The one that's been at the top, the one that's been in the finals, the one that's done it in crunch time, than you would a Koscielny. So I can't see many negatives with this Luiz deal. It's only a 2-year contract. I expect us to fully go in for a top centre-back next summer that's going to take the reins on from Luiz and Socrates. Yes, we've got Holding. Yes, we've got Saliba. We do need someone else. I know Upamecano's 20. I know Konate's 19. They're still very young. But the thing about them two is they're quite experienced now. They've had a couple seasons in Germany. They've had a couple seasons in the first team. Holding's similar, but Holding's been unlucky with injuries at crucial times when he's just finding his feet, when he's just getting into form. He's been unlucky with injuries. So we'll see this year when he comes back. Hopefully he picks up where he left off, because I was impressed in the first third of the season last year up until he got injured. Same with Bellerin. But at least I'll say it again, 2 cunts at the back. Because the amount of times we've been taken for small boys, like even Evra. That reminds me of Evra. Do you remember them days Evra used to say, it's boys against men? Do you know the Man United fans used to laugh so much about that? And at the end of the day, it was. When you look back at it, it was. At the time, we'd like to argue and say, shut up and this and that. We've got But really and truly, it was boys against men for the past however long under Wenger. It was boys against men against these other top sides in Europe and other top sides in the league. But what he's done, leader, presence, he's bringing in league winner, Champions League winner, and overall a character, a big character on the pitch, on and off the pitch. On and off the pitch. I think he's highly respected. I think at a crucial point in his career, it could have gone either way for him. But I believe he bucked up his ideas, and through experience, through looking at yourself in the mirror sometimes, you need to make decisions in life. All of us do. And even as a footballer, you have to make decisions, because early on in his career, he was a bit of a liability. But he's turned that around. And I'm not saying this solves our problems. Far from it. But 2 defensive signings on the last day of the window. One being Kieran Tierney, who's a 22-year-old prospect in a fullback position, who adds depth, who adds quality. And another being a very experienced Premier League veteran. Obviously, he doesn't play international football no more, but he's played a hell of a number of games for Brazil. Why not? Working on the Upamecano deal, working on Konate, or working on these defenders that I would have liked, it was never going to happen on the last day of the window. I just wanted to make sure we got Tierney over the line, and surprise, surprise, we managed to bring in Luiz, who I'm happier with than Rugani. And to be honest, who I'm happy with in general. Hopefully he does the business for us. Hopefully his head is switched on. Hopefully this is not a move for convenience. Hopefully we see a Luiz out to prove himself, because he was dropped to the reserve. Not dropped, but Lampard allowed him to train away from the squad, because apparently he's not a focal point of his plans anymore. So being that they go way back, he allowed him to seek other clubs, and that other club obviously is Arsenal, and it's worked out in our favour. I look over at Chelsea, they've lost Hazard, they've lost Luiz now. That's 2 very big characters in the team. That's 2 very big experienced winners that they've lost. So it'll be interesting to see how Chelsea actually perform this year. But like I said, Chelsea and United do not scare me. Arsenal, well done. Thank you for once giving us a transfer window at the end that we should all be happy with to an extent. I know some will moan a bit more about the centre-back issue, but let's be content right now. I believe we've taken enough of a risk to get that reward of top 4 at the end of the season. So come on, boys, man. Come on, let's do this, Arsenal. Love for all the support I get from you guys as well. Hopefully I can bring you more and more content throughout the season. Deadline day is done. Rumour roundups are done until January, people. Let's get straight into the matches and let's see what's going on in the 2019-20 season.